Hello Aquarius, and welcome to Embrace the Moon Tarot and your September 2017 tarot reading. And I feel that you've been anticipating, like, this reading. You've been anticipating to get on and find out what kind of energies you should be seeing coming your way for the month of September. And that's it. That is all I'm getting. Just anticipation. What to look forward to. Like, you know what you know, but you want to see how much you know correlates with what kind of messages you're going to receive from several different formats. This is just one of them. I'm just one of them. Just kind of tapping into trying to validate what you know, what you perceive, what you understand, and seeing how much that actually matches what other people know and have seen and have experienced and anticipate to come forward. So yeah, that's sort of what I'm getting. All right, so I have a different sort of spread for you for this month, so we'll see how this goes. It's going to be slightly smaller and hopes to make these readings a little bit shorter, but I don't think that helped. I still kind of get jabbery, so anyway, thank you for, I just wanted to say thank you for all of you who have been watching and have been returning, and for the positive feedback. I do really appreciate it. So let's see what sort of energy we can see coming for the month of September for Aquarius. Past, present, strength, focus, potential obstacle, potential future. Told you I was going to do a little bit different spread. So I'm going to go ahead and take this potential obstacle and move it up here for now. And let's focus on the past. So past, we have judgment. And often we think of this as the judgment call. And I don't, because it's in the past, I feel that this is definitely speaking of the judgment call that you actually underwent. And I don't feel that this was just through the month of August. This has been kind of long term, ongoing. But it finally kind of wrapped up at some point in August. So an evaluation of sorts, kind of looking over your life as a whole. You know, if your life was in a book, kind of rereading the chapters, skimming through the parts that you felt didn't really need to be applied in any way. Skimming through parts that you felt that were important but not important right now as you reevaluated where you're at. And what you felt was valuable and not valuable moving forward. And just kind of doing a judgment call. Doing a judgment call on your book of life as it is up to this point. Trying to figure out what it is that makes your life of value, what it is that has added value but you don't need it anymore, what it is that you may or may not want to take forth with you as you move forward through the end of this year, because you feel like there's been some changes in the air, there's been changes in your life, changes as a whole, some of them that you've participated in, some of them that you didn't have any participation in whatsoever, but have impacted your life in some way or another, and some that haven't quite completed, but you are looking forward to complete because you feel that this is taking you somewhere, and even if you can't quite understand exactly where it's taking you, you're okay with it because it feels really good. So in the recent past, you just have gone through a judgment call regarding your life, looking over, like I said, just kind of looking over your entire book of life and how you feel it relates to you now. And some of the things that you've understood about your life and you have interpreted in the past, you've actually changed your interpretation of, which changes how you move forward, which changes how you are willing to accept things as you move forward, about yourself, and what you're willing to accept, what you're willing to not accept, and what you're willing to finally realize that it may have been a big deal, but you're at a point in your life it's no longer a big deal. You can let it go. And you can move on and release from that. So that is something that you have been going through recently. And so your present energy is 2 of Pentacles. So this is balancing some of these new realizations that you have come upon, these epiphanies that you have had, and trying to figure out how this can ground you into this new person that you are now and that you hope to be moving forward into the future. Like I said, there's this kind of anticipation of, you know, great things are coming. Great change is still happening. Changes that you feel that you can have a hand in, although it's not quite yet. So you're balancing what you know, what you now understand about yourself, and what you can do with this, what you can use from it, how you can make it so that you feel more secure in who you are and these self-discoveries that you have made, and how you can use it for your benefit for tomorrow and next week and next month and even into next year. So you've recognized some changes in the vibrations around you, and you are just kind of full of energy and trying to figure out how you can utilize all of it for yourself. And this is something that you're going to kind of come upon and think about and ponder on a regular basis as you maneuver through the month of September, because I think that as you move through September, you're going to come to even more realizations about yourself, about who you are now, how you've gotten to here, what it is that this judgment call, the vibrations of this judgment call is still going to kind of permeate through the month of September. Even though you have done your work, the vibrations of what you have completed aren't done vibrating. So there are still some things that are still kind of crop up. You're still going to hear those tones kind of coming into your life, and then you're going to ponder on them. You're going to look at them when they come. So, and because of that, you're going to really give some considerations regarding, like I said, these things that have defined who you are, what has brought you to where you are in your life right now, and how you want them to continue to define you. Whether the definitions that you had the last time you pondered these past experiences, if you're willing to keep those definitions, or if you feel like you can let them go or change them or alter them. But you're really going to be balancing your past self and the present self so that you can really make a better future self. And that's what it's all about. Like, that's what you're anticipating. You feel like you've got so much. You can't even explain what you have in yourself or what you see in yourself. But you feel like bigger and better is yet to come as far as who you are. And this transformation that you've been kind of undergoing, these contemplations that you've been really giving lots of time and consideration to, you feel as though there's still so much more that life that you can take from life, and you're ready to take it. So like I said, you're really balancing the tones and the vibrations of that judgment call and the things that you've already dealt with, and some of them are still going, some of the vibrations for that are still going to permeate throughout the month of September, and some of those considerations and contemplations are going to kind of come back up again, and you're going to balance the new rooted version of who you are and be able to dig those roots in deeper, and realizing who you are and what it is you feel that you are going to allow to continue to define you, and what it is that you feel that you can release, and how that's going to expand into the future as to who you are, who you want to be, and what you want out of life, and what you're going to go get if it's not going to come to you. Which is why we find that your strength is movement. Because as these realizations come, the vibrations that come from the judgment call, you're going to add to them into your future, and you're going to, like I said, it's going to be one of those things where you're going to realize what it is that you've been searching for, what it is that you that define who you are, what it is that you're happy with, the definitions that you're happy with, and definitions regarding your past experience that you're not happy with, and how you've come to a point where you're able to release them and not let them define you anymore, or change the definition if it needs to be changed. And you're just ready, like I said, to accept whatever it is in the future that the future you is working towards. And if it doesn't come to you, you're going to be more than willing to go get it. And that's your strength. Recognizing when something is available to you but isn't coming to you, that you have to go get. So things are going to kind of come across your path as you work through the month, as these vibrations continue to go through your month, and you're balancing, like I said, old experiences, past experiences, and their definitions of who you are now and who you want to be in the future. You're recognizing too what sorts of things are available to you in your future, and decisions that you have yet to make for tomorrow, for next week, for next month, for next year. And you're going to recognize what it is that you want, and you'll be able to move in that direction, which is a big deal, because as a whole there hasn't been much moving. It's been one of those things where you've been anticipating this movement and you've been working towards this movement, and you've been understanding that this movement is coming. You've been understanding that this change is underway. This transformation has been undergoing, and you've been doing your part and participating in it, as far as doing the deep contemplations and the deep considerations and whatever internal work that you need to do, because you felt bigger and better is coming. You've been anticipating the point in time where you can actually start moving on this. And in September, you'll start getting to those points where you can start the movement. Some will be big, some will be small. I think more of them will be small, but it'll be the tiny steps that'll be taking you to the bigger steps. And it doesn't matter how small it is. Like I said, it's kind of been all this underlying work that has been going on. You'll be grateful for the tiny steps anyway, because you've been waiting for these tiny steps. So you're at a point where you don't care if it's a giant leap or if it's a baby step. If it's a baby step, you'll make it, you'll take it, whatever. But that's going to be kind of happening, and I feel that that's going to be probably a little bit closer. You'll start seeing and feeling the vibrations of it mid-September sometime. But the momentum, feeling like, oh yes, I can see how the movement is occurring, that's going to be more towards the end of September. But that recognizing of the vibrations and the movement beginning, seeing that in mid-September is going to be, it's going to be enough to be like, yes, finally, this is what I've been waiting for. That's yeah, movement. That's your strength for the month. Trying to think, what do I want to do? Potential obstacle. Let's go ahead and do that. Potential obstacle is Ace of Swords. And this kind of goes with that excitement that you're going to be getting from knowing that all of this kind of build up and anticipation is finally going to get a little bit of a release. And you'll finally be moving towards something. As a result of that, I feel that the excitement's going to start to kind of take over your head a little bit. And that desire to take over control has a risk of taking over. And so then too much thought process and how you can make this move before you know it should is going to be the obstacle. So when you start seeing the vibrations, the desire to push it a little further, a little faster is going to sort of creep in. And that desire of, well, if this is good, this will be better. The whole concept, well, if running a mile is good, running 2 miles is better. Well, if you're not ready for running for 2 miles, it's not really better. You might make it 2 miles, but you will pay for that. So that's kind of the obstacle you're going to run up against when you start seeing the movement being possible and you start seeing the movement happening. There's going to be that excitement is going to really take over, and you're going to be like a child and like, oh yes, I can do this. Let's like I said, and thinking if I can do this, this would be better. that's going to be the obstacle for the month. Being able to kind of get a handle on that and recognizing, yes, this is good, and it'll remain good if I let it take its course. Only move as far as I'm supposed to, only move as fast as I'm supposed to. And you'll know how fast and how far you're supposed to go with the movement as they come up. So don't allow yourself to start question and anticipate, yeah, but this could be better. I could do this. I could make this happen. Take it as it comes. Let it grow and move organically on its own. Be a participant, but only as you're supposed to be. Or you might be that 1 mile runner who decides to do 2 miles, and then, the next day, your legs are sore, you can't walk upstairs, it's hard to sit down and get out of chairs. You can make it, but you kind of pay for it. You don't want to be paying for it. You want it to be, you've been waiting so long and hard for this movement. Enjoy every moment as it happens, and know that it's going to be worth it if you allow it to move as it's supposed to move. So your focus is King of Pentacles, and this is just, focus on, this is the helpful focus. Focus on knowing what the end results are going to be. When all is said and done, the harvest, kind of. When you plant the seeds and you water it, and you allow the sun to shine on it, and you hoe it or hill it or weed it or whatever the work that you've put into it, it's a slow process. A garden takes all summer. You plant in the beginning of summer, you don't really get full harvest till the end of summer. You might get a little bit here and there, but you don't get the full harvest till the end of summer. Focusing on what you are going to get by the end of summer is what makes you keep tending to the garden. If you love tomatoes and you plant tomatoes, that's one of the things that you plant inside before, and it has to be so big before you can plant outside, and then you have to do so much care for it while it's outside. And you might get 1 or 2 tomatoes on the vine before you actually get the full harvest and get enough tomatoes to be able to make whatever it is you want to make with a ton of tomatoes. It's the fact that you know that eventually you will get all of those tomatoes to make sauce or whatever you want out of it that makes you plant it and take care of it before you plant it outside, and then take care of it outside until you get to that point. It's the same kind of concept. You need to focus on the end results. If you tend to it properly and you nurture it appropriately, the end results will be the best payoff. But you have to work with whatever is presented at that time. If you try to force it, if you planted tomato seeds inside and then you moved them outside before it was supposed to move outside, you could potentially lose all of your tomato plants, or you might only have half of them grow. It's the same kind of concept. You don't want to push it. Tend to it as you're supposed to tend to it. Move with the movement as you're supposed to move it. Create the movement when you're supposed to create the movement. Pause when you're supposed to pause. Don't push it. The way you help yourself to not push it, to not allow your thoughts to falter, is you focus on the end result. Focus on the fact that if you do this as you're supposed to, tend to it as you're supposed to, nurture it as you're supposed to, the end results are going to be what you've been anticipating. Let that be your goal, your end sight, your focus, so that you don't push it too fast, too far. The potential end for the month of September is 7 of Cups. And if you play your cards right, you're going to have options. And you're going to have clarity. I feel that there's a definite clarity that comes with this option. That's not always the definition that comes with 7 of Cups. A lot of times 7 of Cups comes with the concept of being overwhelmed with too many options. And I don't feel that you're going to be overwhelmed. This is going to be one of those things that makes you feel very pleased, because you know all of these options are a direct result of your hard work and your hard focus. So then it just becomes choosing. But that's not going to be how, you're not going to be focusing on choosing by the end of the month. You're going to be focusing on how good it feels to have these options. And like I said, because you know all of these options are a direct result of all of the hard work and the time and the effort that you have put in to bring yourself to this month. So options, the name of the game for the end of the month. And I do feel that there's going to be a bit of clarity, you know, kind of already knowing what options you're going to choose and what options you're going to let go. But that's how the month of September has the potential of going towards for you. And it is related to how will you handle, you know, your focus and the movement. And, you know, if you attempt to move things faster and further than they're meant to move, that's how it's directly related. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and pull a final card to sort of wrap this up for you and give you a little summary or a little bit of a mantra to take with you as you continue through the month of September. So let's see what we can pull for you, Aquarius. So this was the card that popped out and it made me giggle a little bit when I saw it, because I feel this rings very, very true, especially when we're working hard. You know, like I said, the beginning of the month, one of the things that has you coming to watch these videos and whatever else that you're seeking regarding looking for that validation because you've been anticipating, I feel that this kind of speaks to that. Prosperity sisters are happiness and joy. And I feel that that's really letting you know to live in the moment. Don't let this, you know, that anticipation create anxiety. It has the potential of becoming anxiety because you're just so filled and therefore becoming overwhelmed with, okay, but next, okay, but next, okay, but next. And as a result of it, it can kind of turn and turn and turn. And like a storm, it starts to brew and create a little bit of anxiety. The body itself can't decipher from good stress and bad stress. So you can have a lot of good stuff going on in your life, but if it's too much, the body sees it as stress. It doesn't matter. It doesn't say, well, that's positive stress, I'm cool, I'm chill. Or that's negative stress, okay, now I'm going to get all, you know, anxiety filled. The body just doesn't perceive it that way. Stress is stress. So even when it's good anticipation, for good things to come, if we focus on it and we let it to kind of begin to stir to the point where it starts to brew a storm, we can kind of create a little bit of anxiety with it. And so I feel that that's why this card comes into play. Prosperity sisters are happiness and joy. It's just letting you know that as you're anticipating, don't let yourself get too overfilled with anticipation to the point of creating anxiety. Enjoy the moment as it is right now. Recognize that, you know, that prosperity, getting those cups filled, getting to that point of those options is to really still live in the moment. Take the baby steps when it's time to take the baby steps, and then go enjoy life. Go be happy. Go seek joy. And then I went ahead and pulled this, and I just feel that this is just kind of, it needs to be added, and it's you are epic. And I think it's just letting you know it's all good. It's all good. You're on the right path. Again, don't let the anxiety, the anticipation create anxiety. You are at an epic moment in your life, and just be chill about it. Enjoy those happy moments and those joyful moments. Move in whatever direction you need to move. Know that you will get to that point where you have those options that you've been really waiting and you've been kind of knowing were coming your way. But at the same time, you've been thinking, maybe not. Maybe I'm just full of it and I don't really know what I know or know what I think I know. Let that all go. Just move when you're supposed to move. Focus on the end results of all the hard work that you put in when you do put in, and when you're not working, enjoy life. Just enjoy life. All right, that is all I have for you, Aquarius, for the month of September. I hope it's a great month. Make it a great month. And hopefully I will see you in October.